The member for Hughes.
I seek leave to move the following motion. That the House notes 1. In a free democratic nation, any preventative medical intervention should only be carried out with the prior, free and informed consent of the person concerned. B. That no Australian should be placed in a position where they are forced to undertake a medical intervention to be able to open their business, to keep their job, to be able to pay their mortgage or to put food on the table. C. Today, many Australians are being coerced against their free will to submit to receiving a medical intervention just to open their business, keep their job, pay their mortgage or to put food on the table. D. That no Australian should be placed in a position where they are forced to undertake a medical intervention to be able to visit a beach or a park. Yet, many Australians are being forced to do that. E. That the Australian Constitution provides that trade, commerce and intercourse between the states shall be, and I quote, absolutely free. The words absolutely free in the Constitution are not preceded by first providing some government-issued health papers. G. That many Australians are being coerced against their free will to submit to receiving a medical intervention just across the state borders. The only document that an Australian citizen needs to cross the state border is that little book called the Constitution. The latest data out of Israel evidences that vaccine passports are a deception and little more than a marketing stunt.
The member for Hughes, have you got into the substantive motion?
Not yet. One more point, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. One more point. We're up to J. The latest data out of Israel evidences that vaccine passports are deception and little more than a marketing stunt, as they provide little evidence that a person is less likely to have COVID. And the latest published science evidences that a person with a vaccine passport is no less likely to spread COVID compared to a person without a vaccine passport. And two, we calls on the government to immediately bring the No Domestic Vaccine Passport Bill of 2021 on for a debate.
Is leave granted?
Is not granted.
Leave is not granted.
Mr. Speaker, I move that so much of standing and session orders be suspended as would prevent the member from Hughes moving the following motion immediately. And that is that the government immediately brings on the No Domestic Vaccine Passport Bill of 2021 for debate and a vote before this Parliament rises. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Just on the relevance rule, let's be very clear what this amendment says. Condemns the coalition government for its continued failure to back Australian industry and innovation and to deal with the challenges arising from the pandemic. That is exactly what I am speaking about. You come into this chamber and want to silence debate on one of the most important issues ever facing our country? Shame on you down there at the desk, member for Fenner or wherever you're from. It is absolutely crystal clear that what I am debating is directly relevant to this bill. And how dare you stand up and try and silence debate in the House because of some ideological view that you may have. I am directly talking about the government's continued failure to back Australian industry and innovation, and I am talking about an Australian innovation that we have let slip through our fingers. That's what I've been talking about. What is that directly 100% relevant to this bill?
Point of order.
Point of order, Deputy Speaker. The question here is not...
excuse me? What is the point of order?
Relevance, Deputy Speaker. The question here is not the efficacy of ivermectin, which Anthony Fauci has warned against and the Therapeutic Goods Administration has warned against. It is the members' need to be relevant to matters before the House. He can debate this in other forums.
Thank you, Acting Deputy Speaker. And consistent with your ruling, I'll continue to talk about Australian innovation, and with that, under the rules of this House, I'm absolutely 100% entitled to cite an example, and that is what I am doing, Deputy Speaker.
You've cited an example, and it's now time to move on. Thank you.
So I firstly cited the example. I started, before I was interrupted, with Dr. Kylie Wagstaff from Monash University that discovered that ivermectin kills COVID stone cold dead in a test tube. I then went on to talk about Australia's research and innovation with Australia's Professor Tom Borody, someone with experience in innovation and research, an internationally regarded physician with 4 FDA-approved drugs on the US and Australian markets, who is famous for developing the triple therapy that cured peptic ulcers, saving more than 18,000 lives just in Australia and millions internationally.